Oh, shit. I nearly hit a bird, but I don't think I did. Take away all excitement and I'd be bored for the rest of my life, that's for sure. So I obviously I got rid of the Golf yesterday. Well, I mean, it's probably not that obvious. I don't think I've put a video out about it yet, but I got rid of the Golf yesterday. And I went this afternoon just after lunch to try to register the Volvo. But because the last inspection on the Volvo was done in 2022, it means that it has to go through an inspection first before I can register it. So obviously it was a little bit too far gone to just register it and then do like an inspection straight after, or give me the registration, let me register it and then make an appointment for an inspection. I have to actually get it inspected first and then they'll allow me to register it. So that's thrown a little bit of a curveball into the process. I mean, I kind of expected it. I didn't think that it would I was expecting it not to be super easy, just to like get it registered and then it's done. Obviously it's 4 years since it's been last inspected. So yeah, but not to worry. It's still yeah, it's in really good nick, so I don't think there's going to be much problems with it. So I'm going to book it in, but then the problem is that I can only book it in for an inspection start of next year. So it doesn't look like I'll be driving the Volvo at all this year. I mean, we are going away. We're flying away on Monday, so I don't think I anyway would have been able to get much done with it. So it's probably a good opportunity to just let that side of things cool its jets a little bit, so to speak, and then when we come back next year, we will be sort of full steam ahead with it, which will be good. But not to worry. I mean, we've still got the tour that we will do when we're on holiday. So we're going to be looking for cars where we're going. So that will also be something to keep the videos going. So yeah, that's kind of the update of the day, really. It's I'm a little bit disappointed that I wasn't able just to get it sorted then and there, but I also I wasn't expecting it to go just straight through. So yeah, I'm currently on my way to drop off the papers to the new owner of the Golf, and then yeah, that's pretty much it for the year, I think. I mean, I don't have any more there's no more cheap cars to be driving around legally at the moment, but yeah, there's still, I think we've got less than a week now until we leave. So yeah, it's not going to be that big of a deal, I don't think. So yeah, but again, if you guys if you guys have any sort of requests or suggestions of cars that you think that I should be looking at and buying next, I'd love to hear it. And I reiterate that you can always send me a message, get in contact. I'd love to hear from anyone about their thoughts. So as we are sort of coming to a little bit of limbo time, so to speak, I wanted to maybe ask everyone some general questions about what your main interests are, and just sort of general car sort of travel, adventure type topics. I think my first question is, what is the most unreliable cheap car that you've ever owned, and did you miss it when you sold it or got rid of it? My most unreliable car that I ever owned was a Renault Twingo, 2001 Renault Twingo that I bought for 400 francs. That thing was basically like, I bought it as like a runaround quote car for when I had quite a few people working for me. I really needed a car to run around in because I wasn't working on site. And I basically, all the work vehicles were being used. So I had to buy a little runaround car, which, it started off on, I wouldn't say the wrong foot, but it started off on a foot that was a little bit imbalanced, should I say, that's probably the right analogy for it. Basically the guy who was selling it was advertising it for 600 francs, 600 Swiss francs. And I went out and had a look. It wasn't too far from my place. So there was about 25, 30-minute drive further out of the city. And there was an issue with it, which was the immobilizer. And we were unable to get it to drive, or unable to get it to start. And then the guy was like, look, if you can get it to start, you can have it for 400 francs. So that became the mission. I think we were there for maybe, about half an hour trying to get it to start. And I was speaking to my friend who speaks French, or who is French. And he was, because I'll backtrack. Where we bought the car was in the French speaking part of Switzerland. So I was on the phone with my friend, and he was speaking to the guy who was selling it, who didn't speak English, didn't speak German. And he was trying to explain to us the issue with not being able to start it. And, he was trying to explain to us, and then like why or what happened. I think his story was that it was working perfectly, and then there was a huge hailstorm, which somehow like tripped the immobilizer or something. Maybe it hit the car so hard that the car thought it was being broken into or something. I don't know if that would even be a possibility, but that was sort of the gist of the conversation and the gist of like what he was thinking was wrong with it. And then we did all this research about like what would be the cause. And this was kind of before ChatGPT was very, very popular. So my friend was on YouTube looking up like, why won't my Renault Twingo start, or the French car of this year, why won't it start? And turned out to be the immobilizer. And we figured out, and I won't say it on this video because it could lead to things happening that shouldn't happen, but we figured out how to bridge the immobilizer. And we got it to start. Yeah, we bought it. So I bought it for 400 francs. And that started off really good. Like, I think I had it for maybe a month or two. And then I took it to a mechanic that I was using at the time. And he's like, yeah, the thing is perfect. It's like, mechanically, it's absolutely perfect, which I was very happy about. So I was very chuffed with my purchase. And then, yeah, after after a couple of months, there was this one drive that I did. I had to go and do a quote in Lucerne, which is about an hour and a half from Basel. And it drove down perfect, no issues at all. But on the way back, it was absolutely lashing it down, like hissing down with rain. And the immobilizer came on again, or the limp mode came on. So my guess was that there was something to do with water getting into somewhere that caused the issue. And then basically from that point on, it was virtually, I think I had it for probably another, I don't know, I had it for maybe another year or something. And then I lent it to somebody because they didn't have a car. Yeah, it just basically, it was never the same. It never recovered from that time that it cut out and went into limp mode. It was very, very temperamental after that. But when it drove, it was so much fun. But it was just, you wouldn't want to take it on a long trip, or a trip that you would take, like that you had to drive far for, because it was just way too unreliable. You would literally get stuck. Like when I broke down on the highway, in the middle of the highway. Like it was so lucky that as well, I broke down, like literally it came to a stop underneath a bridge, and I was able to get out of the car and then walk up the little embankment and sit directly under the bridge. But if it had been 500 meters before or 500 meters after, even 100 meters after or before, I would have been stuck out in the elements. So that was a really nice, I liked that car, but yeah, as I said, it was very, very temperamental. But would I have another one? Absolutely. I thought those cars were so much fun. It was a little 1.2, so it didn't quite enjoy driving on the highways, but it was a really fun car to drive, like in town, and great to park, and proper French flair, which I really liked. That was that one. So then the next one is, would you rather drive your dream car once or a cheap car every day for the rest of your life? So I think you can either have your dream car and that's it forever, or every day you get to choose what new cheap car you can use. For me, it's a no-brainer. Like, I don't necessarily have a dream car, to be honest. My dream car is a car that I haven't driven yet. That is literally what my dream car is. A car that I have not, that I've never driven. It could be a Citroen C1. It could be a Rolls Royce. It could be a Bentley. It could be a Mercedes-Benz E-Class. It could be a whatever. If I haven't driven it, that's my dream car. That's what I'd love to drive that. So my answer to that question would be absolutely cheap car for the rest of my life. I don't think I would be able to go through life only driving one car. That wouldn't sit right with me. I think it would just take away all excitement, and I'd be bored for the rest of my life. That's for sure. Next question is, at what point is a car not worth fixing anymore? I think I think it depends. If you're doing it yourself and you enjoy the work that goes into it, then I don't think there's a limit, really. But if you are, I think it depends. If you, this question, I think, can be answered from a lot of different angles. If you had all the money in the world and you were doing what I do, where you're buying the cars literally to drive them, that you're not buying them, like I'm not buying them because out of necessity. I'm buying them because this is what I absolutely love to do. And I love the change, and that, I suppose, the dopamine hit of just having going and looking at buying, driving home and registering a new car like every week, basically. That for me, like, obviously I'm not going to, if I know that a car has got like thousands of euros or thousands of bucks worth of repairs to do, I would probably skip it. But if I know that it needs some work and it's work that I can actually fulfill myself, then, yeah, I don't know if they're really, obviously there's a limit, but, I think yeah, it's hard. Like, depends. If you love the car, obviously, and you can see yourself keeping it forever, obviously I don't think there is really a limit or a numerical limit that I can put onto it. I mean, it's all sort of relative to what you paid for the car, I suppose, but I mean, yeah, it's a hard question. I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks, but I think that's a bit of a difficult question to answer, to be honest. It all depends on how much you love the car, I suppose. The next question is, what modern car features actually make driving worse, in your opinion? Mine, straight off the bat, is lane assistance. I think that is the most ridiculous feature I think I've ever used or experienced. It's really, I actually find it quite really distracting. Yeah, that I don't know. I don't like that at all. I think that's I mean, maybe some people like it. Maybe it helps some people, but it's something for me that I'm not really I'm not a huge fan of. And I drove one of those like few years ago. I drove one of those Opel Moccas, and that was that was terrible. That was probably one of the worst cars I think I've ever driven in my life. That was like basically having a hemorrhage. Like, it was having a fit every time you go like slightly near the middle lane or the other lane. It would just jerk and basically force itself. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. But maybe some people like it. Maybe some people need it, but that's not for me. Next question is, if you had 2,000 euros, and had to drive all the way across Europe, let's say from Porto to Moscow, as an example, what car would you buy and why? I think for me, I would probably buy I'd probably buy the car that I just bought. Yeah, that would be my choice. I'd buy a Volvo V70, all-wheel drive. That's the car that I'd buy. And I think with a budget of 2,000, you'd probably get a really decent one as well. So yeah, that's my, that would be my choice for sure. The Volvo V70 all-wheel drive, or an XC70. It doesn't really matter, but I don't know if you'd be able to get one for 2,000, but a V70 for sure. What do you guys classify as a cheap car compared to a bad car? Or what's the difference? What's the difference between a cheap car and a bad car? I think that the major difference is if it's a bad car, that's hard. That's a hard one to answer, actually. Because I mean, I think since like, I think in the last sort of 3 to 4 years, or maybe a little bit longer than that, let's say in the last 5 to 10 years, I've sort of come to the realization that there isn't really too many I mean, on the like straight out of the European market, like what's available to the average person? There's not really that many like really bad cars, I think. I mean, they all seem to be, obviously they all need to go through like stringent testing and everything like that to be able to be put onto the European market. So I don't know, it's a hard one, but I would say, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, that's a hard one to answer, I think. Am I going the right way? I don't know. No, I'm not going the right way. Yes, I am going the right way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that one. I mean, I'd love to hear what you guys think. But, what's the longest, the next question is, what's the longest you have trusted a car that you probably shouldn't have? Mine is I would have to say a Volvo V70. I know it sounds like a little bit of a backtrack on what I've been saying lately, but this one particular Volvo that we had was an absolute lemon. And turned out to have a lot of issues with it. And we had it for probably 6 months max. And there was, I think if I was in the mindset now, if I was in today's mindset, I probably wouldn't have been so wound up about it. But back then when I bought this car, I wasn't too familiar with this sort of like, I wasn't very sort of savvy with any mechanic. I mean, I'm not really savvy with mechanics now, but I know that I've got the resources now to be able to do the research and sort of figure these things out on my own. So, but yeah, that had major issues. That was, it had like fuel pump issues and fuel delivery issues. It was actually quite dangerous. It was the first real car that my wife had when she got her license. And yeah, there was some like acceleration issues. And if the fuel level got down below a certain level, basically cut out. Like if you went to take off from somewhere, it would, just kind of leave you stranded. Like it would also, the whole car would cut out as well sometimes. And that happened to me once, and I was driving through a tunnel. And I actually broke down in the tunnel. And I literally was just able to get out of the tunnel in time to get onto a little shoulder. Because in Switzerland, if you break down because of any fuel related things in a tunnel, they fine you like astronomically. So that was very lucky that I just made it out of the tunnel, and then someone came and brought me some fuel, which helped the pressure, which I was able to keep driving. But that was probably something that we trusted a little bit longer than what we should have. But I was very glad to see the back of it, but also looking back, probably could have fixed it, but didn't have the money at that time. Nor did we have the money now, but I mean, so then the next one is driving alone or driving with someone. I think it all depends on the person, doesn't it? I think if you are driving with someone that you don't like, then obviously driving alone would be a lot better. But if you are driving with someone that you enjoy the company of, then sure. But I suppose the question should be, what do you prefer? If I can blast music and I have videos to make, then yeah, obviously driving by myself is my preferred option. But it is good to have some company. It always depends on the company. Let's be honest. But yeah, and it also depends on how long you're having to drive for. So that's my 2 cents. So I suppose the next question would be, what car would you never, ever buy again, even if it was given to you for free? See, this question I find very difficult to answer, because I don't have any bias against any cars. And I haven't really ever owned a car that I wish I never owned, because they all got the treatment that they deserved, depending on how good or how they were. So if it was a car that wasn't great in like everyone's eyes or my eyes, then it would just get driven to hell. But in saying that, you build a slight relationship with cars that you can do that, because you really do push them to their limits. And then you gain respect for them. So to be honest with you, I would take again any car that I've had before. I don't think that there's no car that I've had in the past that I wouldn't have again. Yeah, that's my answer. I suppose it's a pretty boring answer, but I don't care. That's how I think. That's what I feel about this question. The last question for this round is it irresponsible to love cheap cars, or is it the most responsible thing that you can do? I think it's the most responsible thing you can do. It is sustainable, because you like every secondhand car or every cheap car that gets bought, that's one less new car that needs to be produced. That's one less car that needs to be scrapped. And I think that that's pretty good for the environment. I don't know what everyone else thinks, whether they think that electric cars are good for the environment. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not too sold on it. But I'm not going to go into that because I have absolutely no idea. I'm not a scientist. But that is just my view. And I'm going to show you my actual view right now, which is fucking pretty amazing. Camera doesn't really do it justice, but that is a serious sunset. I think that it is extremely responsible to buy old cars. And what's very irresponsible is trying to sell old cars or cheap cars for more than they're worth. That is irresponsible. That does my head in. That really does my head in. And I don't know what you all think, but I suppose this is part of the reason why I'm giving them away for free, is because they need to be used. They need to be driven. Like, there's so many people that can't afford cars. They can't afford to, like, sure, they might be able to insure them or like pay for the road tax or whatever, but to actually, like, they just need the car itself. And if people can't do that, like, yeah, that's something that's really sort of important to me, is to try and give as much as I can. Give back to, not give back because I'm not receiving anything, but just give what I can to people that can't, they can't afford a car. And I'm not asking for anything in return. Apart from views and subscribers, that's it. Or maybe a little bit of a donation, or nothing over the top. So that's my list of 10 questions. And I would love to hear what everyone thinks. Thoughts, criticisms, encouragements, anything. Let me know your thoughts, because I do want to hear them. I'm very interested to hear what everyone's suggestions and ideas and thoughts are on these particular topics. And there's probably going to be a few videos like this over the next week or so, because I've got no cheap cars to drive nor to fix. So there'll be a lot of communication and questions coming your way. And I'd love to hear the answers. My VW Golf road trip video will be ready very soon. I'm just finishing off the editing for that. I really hope you all enjoy that. We had lots of fun taking it on a trip. and seeing what the beautiful, the beautiful southern Germany had to offer. And yeah, so again, it's a little bit frustrating about the Volvo situation, that I can't just jump in there and register it as I'd like, but that will be registered for the next year. And there's also some, I'm going to make a video also about what I want to do to the Volvo for the road trip that's going to come up for it. Because where I'm going to go is probably going to require a little bit of modification to the car. And I'd like to get everyone's sort of input and thoughts on that, because I haven't never really done any major modifications to the car before. So I'd like to get everyone's input on what I should do, where I can buy these parts, and yeah, help me through the process. So if you have liked these questions, this informative video of, well, not so much informative and educational, but informative of what's to come in the videos, then please hit the subscribe button. And if you are already subscribed and you're hanging around, sticking about, thank you very much. If you're thinking of subscribing and then do end up clicking the subscribe button, thank you in advance. If you know anyone who you think would like these videos and you think that they should subscribe, thank you for recommending me or the videos, or thank you for recommending the channel to them in advance. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video tomorrow, hopefully. Oh, shit. I nearly hit a bird, but I don't think I did. That was very close. I don't think I hit a bird. I didn't feel it hit the car, so I think it's all good. Okay, good night. On that note, good night.